Watching tomorrow's storms especially close because their communities are still recovering from storms on Tuesday. Atlanta News First reporter Chelsea Beimfohr is live tonight in Covington. And Chelsea, some people still dealing with water receding there.
Yeah, Blair, some people had to be rescued from their RVs earlier this week when that flooding was happening tonight. You can see this part of the RV park is still roped off because there's a lot of mud and a little bit of standing water still out there in the middle of the RV park. And residents here, they're worried that this is all going to flood again tomorrow. We saw a lot of similar flash flooding scenes across metro Atlanta and other storm damage on Tuesday, including a tree that fell on a man as he was driving to work in Clayton County. Tonight, his son speaking exclusively with Atlanta News First. Flowers lay outside of a stereo shop on Highway 138 in Clayton County.
He was a great man.
The store owner, 78-year-old Herbert Williams, died this week on his way to work.
He was an entrepreneur to his bone, and he died doing something he truly loved, which was going to his place of employment.
Clayton County police say Williams died Tuesday when this massive tree fell onto his moving car on Highway 54 during a storm. Williams' son says his father was beloved by many people who thought he'd be around a lot longer.
You just think you have time. Everybody, you just think you have all the time in the world, and I get to it, and the truth is you just don't. You just never know.
In Griffin, people are also grieving tonight, nearly a year after a tornado outbreak damaged 2,200 homes.
I wasn't home, but when I came home, it was trees everywhere. I had to climb through, like the trees and the bushes, just to get into my apartment complex.
Those same storms injured 18 people across Spalding, Pike, and Henry counties. Tomorrow, on the one-year mark, those communities will once again brace for the possibility of severe storms.
Hopefully, and we pray that not only us, but the surrounding areas remain safe.
And tomorrow, our First Alert weather tracker will be on the roads to help you track storms and bring you up-to-date conditions and the latest damage reports from across metro Atlanta. Reporting live in Covington tonight, Chelsea Beimfohr, Atlanta News First.
Chelsea, thanks. Now, the first